All right, perfect. Right, I am here with a client of mine who, over the course of 5 months, lost 23 kilograms. And we're going to dive a little bit into his journey, his story, where he was at beforehand, and how he got to the end result, how he got to where he kind of felt like he was comfortable and wanted to kind of maintain. And yeah. Hey, Rich, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, very well.
Good. Right, let's dive straight into it, shall we? So I want to know, kind of before you joined the program, what your biggest frustration with your body, with your lifestyle, like where were you at? Where was your head at?
Well, before I started, I was, quite overweight, to be fair, and there were various health implications of that. My joints were aching. I was getting problems with my back and my knees, and yeah, just generally felt overweight and tired, I guess.
Mm. And you feel like that over years, I guess, over a course of years, it was as a result of the extra weight your body was carrying, which contributed a lot to how you felt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my diet was pretty poor, so I knew that I wasn't doing myself any good.
Mm.
But I also knew that I was putting all sorts of strains on my body that were unnecessary.
And what had you tried beforehand that, had you had moments where you had thought, I need to do something about, the way I'm feeling and given something a go? And what had you tried if you had tried something?
Well, I've tried various diets. I tried back in the day, the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
So I was just eating lots of protein and no carbohydrates.
Hmm.
I did lose weight, but as soon as I got a little bit bored with what I was eating, it all piled straight back on and more. And then a couple of years ago, 2023, I was scheduled to get married abroad and went abroad for a few weeks. I think it was about 6 weeks in total that I hit the gym. I was doing 2 hours of weights and cardio. I was walking the golf course 3 or 4 times a week, and trying to eat very carefully. And I did at that stage lose a stone or two. But unfortunately, as soon as that stopped, I got to the end goal of getting married. I It just all piled back on again.
So do you think maybe you hadn't, for one, you tried to be a bit too extreme too quickly and maybe hadn't actually built the habits or the knowledge that would have helped you keep it off long term?
Yeah, well, I suppose the habit I got into was going to the gym for 2 hours every day and sort of going on the cross trainer for an hour and the rowing machine. And but that's not something sustainable, really. It wasn't doing my body any good,
Mm.
that's for sure.
That's the big thing,
Because
isn't it? Sustainability,
yeah,
being able to sustain it.
yeah, because literally 2 months after that, I ended up having to have a back operation.
Mm.
But I worked extremely hard, but it just wasn't sustainable. I was just doing everything I could in a short period of time to try and lose a bit of weight for the wedding, and it worked, but
Yeah.
it wasn't as much as I'd wanted or expected with all the hard work I'd made,
Mm.
and it didn't stay off. As soon as I stopped going to the gym, it all piled straight back on and again more.
And I guess that's if when you're training for a specific, event or a day, right? Then you get to there, and then afterwards it just feels like, oh, I can relax now. That was so hard, and maybe that's not the best mindset to have, right? So what was the moment you thought I want to try and do something a bit more sustainable? Was there a moment?
Not a particular exact moment, but I love my golf. I try to play when I can. It's not too often, but what I was finding was I was walking around the golf course, and by the time I got to the ninth to 10th hole, my knees were giving up,
Mm.
and I knew that the weight at the time, I was up to around 17 and a half stone, 106 kilograms, and I knew I was putting far too much strain on my body.
Mm.
Walking up hills and across, you know, I like golf, but I'm not the best in the world, which means I put myself into some awkward places, and you're walking on sort of slopes and things like that. And I ended up having to take quite strong painkillers the night before and on the morning to just try and reduce the amount of pain I was getting in my knee
Mm.
and my knees and stuff. So I just thought, well, I need to do something.
How did the knowing that, you were your knees were painful and aching and you felt like you had to take painkillers to help with it and get through doing an activity that you loved. How did that make you feel? I imagine not particularly positive about the situation.
No, it's because you're always putting stuff into your body that it's not good for you. No, I was having to take tablets because I was taking tablets. So when you take these very strong painkillers, they give you stuff to protect your stomach. So you're then taking more tablets, and suddenly you realize, is there a way around this? Maybe if I lose some weight, it's not going to put so much pressure on my body.
Mm.
I do things. I play a bit of racquetball and pickleball, and I love doing those things. And I really couldn't imagine getting to a point where I couldn't do those things because of health problems. So what I thought to myself, what can I do about it? And the obvious thing was to take a lot of that strain off my joints by losing some weight.
Mm. And what, when we had that first conversation, what felt different about this and my program compared to what you had done before? Was there anything that stood out?
Well, the key thing was monitoring what I was eating.
Yeah.
Like you never said to me, don't eat this or don't eat that. You said to me, just record everything that you eat.
Mm.
And as soon as you start recording stuff, it starts focusing the mind
Hmm.
on what's contained in it, and having some guidelines and some goals to try and achieve, like many of the things I do, sport, etc.
Yeah.
It all involves trying to improve yourself. It's a goal. You're trying to shoot below 100. You're trying to shoot below 90. You're trying to shoot below 80,
Mm.
and get better. And when someone says, oh, "Here's a goal, aim for that," actually, it focuses the mind. And yeah, and it worked. It was, and I would say, looking back now, it was easy.
Mm.
I'm sure it wasn't at the time, but looking back now, I think, why didn't I do this years ago? Because it, I never once had a craving for anything like I have many times in the past. Not once did I feel hungry.
Yeah.
I suppose, did what I was told, and found things that I liked. And to a point, I've really started to appreciate food a lot more. Whereas before, I was just going out buying stuff and eating it, and it was just part of the process of day-to-day stuff. But now I look forward to my food. I really
Mm.
enjoy eating it,
Mm.
um, and thinking about what I'm going to have is actually quite interesting.
And that's a big thing that Liam actually, obviously Liam's had a lot of success in the program as well, and he looks forward to that breakfast. He always used to skip breakfast, and he looks forward to breakfast every morning, knowing that it's tasty, but it's also supporting his goals, him in the performing in the gym, losing the body fat he wants to, and giving his body the nutrients and everything it needs. Obviously, that system that we use within the program, did you find at the start, did you find it easy to follow, especially whilst you were back and forth between the UK and Spain? Obviously, that's quite a big part of your life. Um, was it something that obviously hadn't tried tracking and counting and stuff before? Was it something that you struggled with at the start? Did it take a bit of getting
But to
used
be to be absolutely honest, the first week I found it quite difficult.
to? Mm.
But now it's really simple. It's just getting into the rhythm of doing it. Even now, I prepare all my own meals, not all my own meals, but because my wife helps with that as well. But
Yeah.
um, every day or every few days, I'll prepare some meals and I will literally count everything that I'm putting into the food. And it's just a habit now that I just press buttons and I record it. And to be honest, now at the moment, I'm struggling to find stuff to eat. I'm so stuffed that I can't actually achieve
It's a good
what
problem to
I.
have, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Uh, like
And
you
then
said,
you know,
I never.
and then you know after a round of golf, you can have that extra cappuccino in the clubhouse afterwards, guilt free.
That's right. Yeah, and I'm sort of saying to myself, I can't have another latte this morning because
Yeah,
I've had two already.
yeah,
Um, but there's no restriction on what you can eat. You've just got to record it and keep the total within the goals. And actually, once you know how to press the buttons on the app, it's really simple.
mm,
In fact, most of the time you can just scan the barcode and it does everything for you.
mm.
To be fair, I didn't notice that bit of functionality until a couple of months later. I wish I'd found that right at the beginning.
That's a
Um,
premium feature. You got to pay the big
well,
bucks
that
for
is, yeah. I had to spend a couple of quid to get that
that.
benefit, but it saves a bit of time.
Exactly.
And you can walk through the supermarket and go, "Oh, that looks really nice," and just scan it on the app and see
You're
whether
away.
it fits within the plan for the day.
Mm. So it
But
was
no,
more that mindset. It was more that mindset shift at the start of just actually, after a little bit, I know this is going to help. I know this is going to work. So if I just stick at it, I will build that habit, and you know, we can move forward and make some serious progress, right?
yeah, and the amazing thing for me is you used breakfast as an example. I never used to have breakfast. I start work often at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I've got to be up at sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock. I would never allow time for breakfast.
Mm.
Now I always allow time for breakfast, and bizarrely, I generally have the same thing every day for breakfast. And
Same.
actually, I still look forward to it.
Yeah, same.
Because one, it's really quick and simple. I've got two or three different things that I'll vary between, but generally, I have the same thing. I really look forward to it. It doesn't take me 5 or 10 minutes to do it. It's delicious
Mm.
and it's perfect for the plan. And for me, the most amazing thing is I had a goal in mind, which I achieved, and then I reset my goal, and I never ever thought I would get anywhere near that goal, and I did.
Mm.
It was as easy getting to the second goal, which I thought was totally unachievable,
Mm.
than the first goal I set, which I knew was achievable. I just didn't know how, in real terms, how easy it would be. You know, it's not about hitting the gym. It's not about spending hours doing cardio, going running, all this sort of stuff. For me, it was going for a walk.
Yeah.
You know, I've never really
And that's
enjoyed going for
sustainable for
walks
you,
before,
right?
but yeah, absolutely. Some days I'm on a golf course, so I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing what I absolutely love doing, or I'm running around a badminton court or a pickleball court. But on the days I'm not, I just, say to my wife and with my young baby, "Do you want to go for a walk?" And that is part of the plan.
Mm.
It's not about going to the gym and spending an hour on a crashing out, trying to,
Yeah.
use up 600 calories on a really hard machine. It's not about that at all. In fact, I'm amazed at myself to how little real exercise I've done. I've done proper exercise, which is going out for a walk, and I do a bit of stuff in the, you know, repetition weights in the gym now just to try and tone up a bit. But
Mm.
apart from that, it's all about eating sensibly.
And that's exactly why it didn't work in the past, right? You now know the value of just normal daily activity and steps
Yeah,
and how much of an impact that can have before you even need to add in extra cardio stuff and
yeah,
weights and things. They're like the last kind of couple of percent, right? Last 5%. But the main battle is just that general activity, which holds a lot of people back. Um, with specifically though, with so your situation living and working between Spain and the UK, those times where you were traveling and eating out, picking up food on the go, eating in restaurants in the evenings, kind of how did you find managing those situations, with my guidance in within the program.
Yeah, it's relatively straightforward because I now have a greater understanding of the sorts of things that fit into the plan and the things that don't.
Hmm.
I hate to think what the results would be just from a numbers perspective if I put in the sorts of things I used to eat. Bags of crisps, um, Greg's, all sorts of Greg's things and McDonald's things, and even my healthy meal was a Tesco's meal deal with pork pies and sandwiches and stuff like that. And I look at those things nowadays and I think, firstly, they're not filling,
Hmm.
and they would just smash my targets. That sounds wrong, but they would just mean that for the rest of the day I couldn't really have the things I wanted.
Mm.
Now when I go out, I I I know which direction to go in on the menu, and I'm always considering it. And if the menu tells you what's in it, it makes it even easier. And I now look forward to eating those things. I
Mm.
can eat far less and have much more satisfaction out of it because I know that I'm not going to be hungry all afternoon if I go out for lunch.
Were there any
Yeah.
moments where you knew you had some sort of work thing coming up with work travel, or you were heading out for dinner for with colleagues, or anything like that, or you knew you were traveling, throughout the day, where you you struggled and you thought, oh, this is going to be difficult, and what did we kind of do to make sure you had some sort of plan in place to tackle those moments that usually previously would have potentially you would have struggled to like know what to choose that was going to kind of fill you up a little bit and keep you satisfied.
But if I knew I was going out for lunch or for dinner, I would plan the rest of my day so that I was taking on board stuff that was filling,
Mm.
so that when I went out, I knew that I could have something that I liked, but not a big portion, if that makes sense. So that I knew that the content of what I was eating when I was out was um,
Similar to when you're at home
was
almost.
good and acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And
that's
actually,
go on.
after I'd eaten that when I was out, I felt really happy because normally I'm sort of shoving it down my face and trying to, and I'm thinking about what I might be able to have next. And then 2 hours later, when you're afterwards, you're sort of thinking, oh, I need a bag of crisps or I want to eat something
Mhm.
else. But by eating the right thing, so I would have different things for breakfast and different things afterwards, just to make sure that I've taken on board perhaps a bit more protein
Mhm.
in order so that I wasn't so hungry when I went out, and I could um, limit what I was taking on board and enjoy it too.
And that's the main within the 3P method, obviously, the portions pillar, right? It's all about just trying to keep those meals we can't control because we're traveling. It's all about just trying to keep them as consistent, portion size wise and food quality wise as we can to when we're at home. When we
Mm.
can't track things, we just want to keep things as similar as possible. So we're doing our best to not undo any progress we've made and just make positive choices. Because as we know,
Mm.
you've learned throughout the process that when you choose the right foods, it can not only be tasty, but it can be filling and it can satisfy you more than, you may have ever realized previously with choices you may have picked up whilst you were going through an airport or something like that. Um, and how do you feel now when it comes to heading out for a meal? Are you just like, yeah, no problem. I know exactly kind of how to handle it, what to do leading up to that day, and you know, how to mitigate any unnecessary, weight gain or uncontrollable eating.
To be honest, the thing that I've really found is I'm looking at the menu and I'm thinking, oh, I could try that, I could try that, I could try that, because actually there are things on a menu that I probably would never have tried before,
Hmm.
because I was always looking for the biggest portion.
I knew you were going to say that. I
You know,
absolutely
I
knew
was
you were
looking
going to
for the
say that
big
because
thrill, or
I'm always the same.
I was looking for the massive portion because I always wanted to just eat. Whereas now I'm looking at what different variations on the pasta theme. Now, you know, I don't know why, but I've never really been into pasta. Now I love it. I
Mm.
eat it as a main meal. I'll eat it as a salad, cold. I've never done that before in my life. Um, my whole taste buds and the things I quite like have changed so much. And the fact that I can see something on the menu that I know is going to be a smaller portion, and I'm thinking I'm actually looking forward to trying it.
Yeah.
I enjoy eating. You know, the whole process for me has been, you know, nothing short of life changing.
Well,
Um,
on that subject, how just tell us again how much weight you lost and what's that meant to you?
well, I started at 106 kilograms, and I'm down at the moment. I've been for the last, I think, 6 weeks. I have been literally between 83 and 83.8 kilograms. Um, I'm most days I'm eating as much as I can possibly eat, and I'm still not hitting my target some days, and then the odd day I'll have something that takes me over. But I know that as long as it averages out during the week, then it's absolutely fine. Um, you know, I'm even popping to the supermarket and getting myself a tub of ice cream and consuming the whole tub of ice cream because I can.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, it's crazy. 23 kilograms. It's almost what, 4 stone.
Mm.
It's incredible. I've not been this light since I was 25, and I'm
And
almost 60.
just tell everyone about the clothes that you managed to fit back into. Well,
Well, in 1991, I represented Great Britain in the World Water Skiing Championships, Water Ski Racing Championships in Australia, and I have a Great Britain track suit and uniform. And last month, I found it in the loft and I put it on, and it's the first time I've been able to fit into it since 1991, which is what, 35 years ago.
how did that
Um,
feel when you put it back on?
Incredible. In fact, I put it back on and it was almost like it was perfect size. It wasn't struggling to get into it at all.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone from having a 42-inch waist to having a 34-inch waist. It for me, it's incredible. I've had to get rid of all my belts because they go around me twice. I get new belts, but
Yeah.
it's an amazing experience going out and buying something, which is something I've looked on the shelves for many years and thought I used to wear those, but now I'm at that end of the scale. It's just incredible. Yeah, it's been as I say, it's been life changing. You know.
What about for other people around you, and maybe like work and things? How do you think has it had a knock-on effect to that?
Well, yeah. Well, it's had a knock-on effect for me because I feel much healthier. I've
For your
got more
baby girl, right?
confidence. So again, I've got a baby girl. I've got more energy. You know, so it's incredible, and I can now get on the floor and play games with my daughter, and you know, something I never thought I would be able to do because there was a time at one stage where I would get on the floor and for whatever reason, and I couldn't get back up without looking like a beach whale rolling over and having to sort of get somebody to help me. Whereas now I can jump down there, get back up, and you know, it's made a massive difference.
And in regards to the program, what do you think, the obviously the nutrition targets, the guidance in terms of steps and activity, the accountability, the 3P method, the flexibility or the knowledge as well, the Zoom calls, what was the biggest part do you think that benefited you? And was that, that light bulb moment or that thing that moved the needle for yourself?
I don't. It's hard to say, but you know, the plan taught me how to fuel myself properly.
Mm,
You know, how to stay accountable, how to build habits and habits that stick.
mm.
You know, um, it's I can't believe how easy it's been. I'm sure it's not that easy for some, but for me, it's all about the habits. It's all about, you said before about going to the airport. before I would go to the airport and it would be about what can I find to eat while I'm there because I'm sat there getting bored for 2 hours. Now I prepare in advance. I go and I buy some stuff and I make it and I look forward to going to the airport to eat the food that I've prepared in advance
How how
because
and how hard is that? How hard is that to
it's
do?
not. No, and it saves me a fortune as well in money. From
Yeah.
I go to the airports and it's the most expensive place to buy a sandwich
Mm.
or that sort of stuff, and they're always bad for you, typically, or very small. And I can, make a wrap or put all the things in I like, and I just sit there and I can take it out and I can eat it, and I'm full up. It's amazing. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Good. And for somebody, on the fence, potentially thinking about joining the program, they're not sure whether they'd be able to stick to it or they'd get on with the tracking and they could, they can't see them making progress, especially if they do travel with work. What would you say to them?
Well, I was in their position. I didn't believe that it was possible.
Mm.
I I didn't believe I would stick to it for a week. Um, but once you start to see the results and once you start to realize how simple it is to just record the food and then the enjoyment you get through preparing it and eating it, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
If you enjoy something, it's easy. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the results and I enjoyed the process of getting them. And I feel physically better, I feel mentally better, I'm emotionally better, and I sleep better, and my joints are thanking me for it.
Mm.
So, what more could you want? And if you want to just lose weight, you want to get into shape without having to go for 20-mile runs every day. It's amazing. If you want to go for a 20-mile run because that's your thing, fantastic. But that's not part of this. It's just eating sensibly and tracking it. And it's easy, in my opinion.
Mm. And just looking back on the process as a whole, signing up, getting used to it, during the bulk of it and finishing, what was the one thing that surprised you the most about what it actually took to lose 23 kilograms?
What surprised me, I suppose, the biggest thing was how straightforward and simple it was.
Yeah.
It's when someone's feeding you, not with food, but feeding you with information. The sorts of whether it's recipes or whether it's tips and hints on snacks and stuff like that. It's not difficult.
Yeah.
I really enjoy going to the supermarket now because I look around for sort of different things
Mm.
just to and then I get to a point where I think, oh, I don't want too much choice because actually I quite like the simple habits of the same things. Um, and then the amazing thing of I, getting on the scales every day. I can't have even imagined it, but actually I really look forward to it. I just look forward to the fact of going, yes, I'm still there, and it's yeah, that's the way it is.
And are you proud of yourself?
Oh, immensely. Oh, immensely. I never ever thought it was possible. But I'm also hugely appreciative to you because without you guiding me and persuading me that it was a good idea in the first place, um, I would never be here today. And that's I'm immensely proud of everything.
Well, I'm proud of every client, but I am massively proud of what you have achieved. That when we first had that conversation and you told me what you'd tried before, and how it worked a little bit, but it was never anything that lasted, and the struggles you had with your work and travel and I knew that there was potential just partly because you're a competitive person, you're a sporty guy, and I knew that that would help in throughout the process, being competitive with yourself. Um, but you've absolutely smashed it. And, I feel like now there's not a doubt in my mind that you can maintain this healthy new version of yourself for the rest of your life and just improve it, with the gym that you're doing now, the strength training. Yeah, I have no doubt whatsoever, and hopefully your golf will benefit from it. And
Well,
golfing
I'm hoping so.
golfing later into your life, being able to just continue it longer.
Yeah, and it was one of the motivations. I enjoy sport so much. I don't want to have to give it up because my body can't take it anymore. But you know, if anybody, even if it's just they want to lose some weight,
Yeah,
it works. I can't say any more than it, you've just got to.
go for it.
It works. You won't crave for things like I have done in the past. It really does work. And all those other things that I'm experiencing now, the benefits are not necessarily what I did it for, but they
Mm.
are just huge benefits of having done it. And long may it continue. And I now look at many people in the population. I think I now understand why they're not grossly overweight like I was.
Mm.
Um, and anybody that wants to lose weight can, if they just
Apply themselves.
apply themselves and follow your plan.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you making that step at the start of the journey. I appreciate you putting in the hard work, and it just shows when you do commit to a process, right? You don't just you don't half-ass it. When you commit to it and you do
Yeah,
the kind of things and you listen to the advice, and a big one, asking if you're unsure on anything, asking for help. Um, it's you get the rewards, you reap the rewards of the effort you put in. So um, if only you've done it tw 20 years ago, how different life could have been, hey?
yeah, absolutely,
But there's no
absolutely.
time like the present, and
You
kudos to you.
can't do anything. You can't do anything yesterday, can you? You can only do it today.
Exactly.
And let's reap the benefits of doing it today from now on. And like I say, the only thing I would say to anybody considering it is you've got to want it. If
Yeah.
you don't really want it, don't don't do it.
Mhm.
If you want it, then you will get help and you will achieve your goal
Yeah.
because it's not rocket science. It's all about motivation and about understanding and about being guided and being helped. And um, with that, I've achieved something that I thought was totally not achievable.
Mm.
It's incredible, unbelievable, life changing. The only term I can use is life changing.
Awesome. Well, I think that's there's no better note to leave it on. But yeah, I appreciate you jumping on this call. And
Okay.
if anybody is watching this and they struggle with their work travel, you've wanted to lose body fat for a long time, you've wanted to improve your physique, become more confident, and you've tried everything under the sun and it's never worked, and your lifestyle, your schedule just beats you down every time you give it a go. And if you're really ready to commit and take that step, and as Richard said, you're ready to want it, then the link is in the top line of the description to book a call with me, and we can go into your lifestyle, your situation, exactly how I could help you achieve results just like Richard. So on that note, thanks again, Rich, and
Thank you.
thank you for watching, guys.